All right, we are live. What is going on with everybody, man? It's your boy Eric, aka Young God, coming to you live in the Orange Dungeon, giving it to you real, raw, rugged. And I got somebody on the other line, man. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Who we got?
The remarkable Charles Hamilton.
Hey, man. This is like our 33rd time trying this. My connection apparently is really trash. I couldn't get the video for you guys, but hey, man, I got the audio, so I got the best next thing. So, how you doing today, man?
I'm holding on. What's up with you?
Hey man, would be better if my goddamn Wi-Fi wasn't messing up right now. Whatever's going on, so that would definitely make things easier for me. Um, hey, it's crazy. I'm in Florida. I don't know. I think it's just like crazy bad Wi-Fi down here. Is it like a bad Wi-Fi where you're at right now? I don't know if it's like a regional thing, but like for the past month, everybody in my city's had like terrible Wi-Fi. So I'm trying to figure out if it's like a national thing or like a regional thing. Is your Wi-Fi good over there?
No, it's probably the season.
Is that a thing? Like
You know?
does like the winter kind of mess up people's like connection or something?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know. You learn something new every day, man. Well, before we get too deep into this, for the people who do not know who the remarkable Charles Hamilton is, please let them know just a little bit more about yourself, man.
I'm a musician, producer, lyricist, songwriter. I sing a little bit. I don't really talk too much about myself. I usually let my work do all the talking.
Hey, man. Well, let me do a little introduction for yourself, man. I think you're a damn legend, man. I feel like you really started like a kind of like an internet wave, and the way you kind of pushed your own product and putting out a lot of music, and you like built your own aesthetic and style or whatnot. A lot of times these days, a lot of people kind of like either bite off of somebody or they are heavily influenced. But with your style, like of course you're influenced by certain people, but you really crafted out your whole, like your whole lane and whatnot. So just for that, I gotta say shout out to you, man. 'Cause a lot of people do not really promote originality, and hey, I don't know anybody that is like Charles Hamilton. You are as original as they come.
Right on.
Now going back to I guess just beginning or how I even found you. I think the first song I heard about you was Brooklyn Girls, right? It's a lot of probably people's first song they heard, and just kept going from there. And I'm like, yo, this dude's a genius, man. And just knowing what I know now from like your production and your rapping, it's so different. So before we even get into your rapping, I kind of want to get on your production. Did producing or rapping come first for you?
Playing the drums came first, then playing the piano, then much later down the line the guitar, then the bass, then mallets, harmonica. Then I finally, when I was in college, I started making sample beats. I was making non-sample beats before, or interpolations, where I would play the sample, and then I finally learned Fruity Loops, which is everybody's, startup kit. And I started making beats, and I never looked back.
Did you get into drums because of school, or did your parents push that on you? Like, how did you get into drums?
No, I just wanted to. I was banging on stuff in the house, and my mom got me a drum kit. I used to live in Cleveland, and I was like banging on pots and stuff, and my mom got me a drum kit, and I just started blacking out. And from literally, to save, the neighbors, my mom got me a keyboard, and I started playing the rhythm to songs before I started playing the melody. And then we moved to New York. I got a keyboard and started playing the melody, learned everything by ear. And then I was about maybe 11, 12 years old when I got professional lessons. So I started learning what I was doing. And then, I started playing for my church. And from church, I learned speed, how to pick up songs fast. And, like I said, never looked back. I picked up the guitar and the bass, became a one-man band.
So before you got professional lessons, how good were you when you were self-taught?
I was pretty good, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm.
Like I would know, but I didn't know the technicals of what I was doing. So, I guess I was pretty good.
I asked that because I was like in a symphonic band. I played trombone, so I was kind of classically taught, and I kind of know how to play the piano like a little bit, but I don't know how to really play it much. So I was thinking about kind of like self teaching myself, and I don't know. I was thinking, should I try to self teach myself or should I try to get classically trained. So somebody who's done both, what would you recommend me do?
Do what your heart feels.
Mm. Hey man, well my pocket saying class to do it myself. You know what I'm saying? So ain't trying to kick out $200 for a white man to teach me how to play a couple keys. You know, so I don't know. We'll see, man. But yeah, I think like learning instruments. I feel like that's so like undervalued in today's music just because bro if you know how to play an instrument bro that could save you speaking of money that could save you money because you don't have to hire anybody to play it for you and two I feel like it makes you understand the music that you're making so much better when you understand the actual music behind it. You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Is that something that you know when you started to make music like when did you realize that like like my back like when you were 11, 12 years old you probably weren't thinking about that but when you got older like when did it click to you like yo these instrument trainings that I was doing is really making me a better musician?
I mean, I don't remember a time where I wasn't making music, so that's hard to answer.
Mm.
Like I've always been making music, so
So music is
yeah,
would you say that's like your first love?
yeah, music is the only love if you're at the Pink Lava Lamp.
Is that something that like because I know how people who are really into their art it kind of like messes up with like their life like has that ever been like a thing where you like couldn't like sustain relationships or sustain friendships just because like music was number one and it kind of was put over like other people like have you ever felt like that was like a problem that was in your life?
Yeah, that's how it's always been. You know, I'd be in my room practicing the keyboard or listening to records as a kid, or even now. Like, you know, I lost out on some very precious relationships because I put music first.
Is that something that you regret or is that something that you actually can just sleep with?
Pardon me, I was taking a bull hit.
Oh
I
no.
mean, I don't really regret it. You know, I love what I do. I do what I love, and if you love me, you will understand. This is what I love, and this is what I do.
Hey man, and like I said, really big fan of what you do. Just because, like I said, you are you're different with it, bro. Like when I'm listening to "Well, Isn't This Awkward" and I hear like the Rihanna beat, it's like that's crazy, bro. Like I don't know if you know how crazy that beat is, but like even not the beat, but just like you're rapping on that is insane. Like the pockets that you're finding, like it's crazy. Like, do you ever make music sometimes and you're like, that's wild, or you just keep on moving? Because I feel like somebody who makes music like you sometimes you got to sit there and be like, okay, that was crazy. Or do you never sit there and appreciate, I guess, the craziness behind some of your art?
Some of my craziest stuff I haven't even released yet.
Mm.
You know, it's like it's a matter of timing because like I've you know big name producers have jacked my music, jacked bars, concepts, everything. Big name artists, producers, they've all jacked it. So it's like y'all are teasing, y'all are devouring, you know, baby food. Like if I start giving y'all steaks, I don't know what y'all gonna do. So I hold back a lot.
What is the
But
holdback exactly?
I mean, well, I'll say it like this: March 17th, 2020 is my jazz instrumental album, and that's where I'm at in life. Like I'm not even, you know, I make a beat every so often, but I'm in a different place in my life musically, which means I'm in a different place in my life. So, you know, I'm not in a rush to make another Brooklyn Girls, and I make nothing but loser. So, you know,
Yeah,
this
that's
is where I'm at.
it's a great intro, by the way. Loser is a great intro to like to a project. So shout out to you for that. But yeah. So like you say you're making a jazz what album? What do you say you're making? A jazz what?
Jazz instrumental
A
album,
jazz. So what are you playing?
just the piano. There's mostly piano, and there's one guitar song on there.
Are you playing the guitar or somebody else is on the guitar?
I'm playing guitar.
What all instruments do you know how to play?
Piano, lead guitar, bass guitar, drums, most mallets like the xylophone, marimba vibes, harmonica, turntables. There was something else in it. Slide guitar. Yeah. Organ. Organ is just slightly different from the piano. Don't let the design fool you.
It's funny because, like I said, when I was in that ensemble, I wanted to play percussion, but they told me like, "Nigga, no, you gotta play trombone." And you would think like percussion is like the easiest thing to play, but Percussion is really difficult. I don't think people understand that. Like to have that sense of rhythm because you're not playing a note with your mouth or whatever. Like you gotta keep that up. Like you're kind of like the lead of the ensemble almost because if you're off beat, it's going to be really noticeable because like damn that drum is loud and all over the place. I don't know if people understand that.
Yeah,
Like that's a really hard. Percussion is a really hard group of instruments to play.
yeah.
Do you find it the hardest or is that like what do you find the
No,
hardest out of
I mean
everything?
I can stay on the difficult thing is the electric guitar
Mm,
because you don't want to try you don't want to sound like you're trying and you don't want to try like you're sounding. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You don't want to you don't want to sound like a rookie when you know what you're doing because you're so focused on what you're doing and you don't want the feeling to be gone.
I played guitar for 2 years, and I just wasn't for me. Are you like a pick? Are you do you use the pick or you just use your fingers?
Depends on the song, depends on what I'm doing.
What is that? Can you like to somebody? Because I never learned this even when I was playing the guitar because I was kind of disinterested the whole time. Can you explain the difference between like what would need the pick, like what sounds would need the pick, and what sounds would need your bare fingers?
Depends. Well, you mostly use your bare fingers for acoustic, and you use your pick with electric because the strings are different.
Is there any time like on your like not even your production per se, but like you're saying like you playing these instruments, is there something that you like an instrument that you ever played on a song that you released already that you look at as like a highlight as like wow like that was a like you were proud of yourself not producing or not any lyrics but just like you playing an instrument that's something that's already out like is there a song that's out that's like I did my thing on that with the
Um,
guitar or whatever.
probably I'm good. Bret Hart
Mm.
slash Charles Hamilton. Like I actually went in on the guitar with that drink.
That was a I damn no I gotta go back and listen to that. I gotta go back and listen to that. You said you played the guitar on
Yeah,
that?
it's on. Yeah, it's Charles Hamilton.
Okay. And yeah, I mean I do want to come back to your to your production because I got a couple things to say about that. But your rapping, I mean, it's just as good to me. And when I was talking about you carving out your own style, you got your own different type of style because you're rapping, it's like this is a compliment, but it's not like coherent all the time. It's like a free flowing, almost like diary journal entry sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I am talking to you and I am formulating this sentence in a APA formatted. You know, it's not like that. It's kind of like you'll correct yourself in the middle of a bar and it's very free flowing. Is that something that was consciously done or was that just the way you naturally rapped or you know what I'm saying? Because that's a very I think like unique trait about your style.
Well, I mean, even the mistakes are intentional, and I
Mm.
rap using the MLA format, so everything is very cohesive. It's just you probably aren't following the concepts.
That's interesting. You rap in MLA format. Can you please explain that?
The supersonic philosophy is there's a concept for everything. There's a
Mm.
context for everything. So everything I'm saying is in context. So whether it's in context with the title or the overall project, there's no loose ideas, and I don't go off track. Like I know what I'm doing and saying.
And what's this theory? Like where does this like this philosophy come from?
I made it. I created it.
I feel like you have a lot.
Everything.
Huh? My fault.
Everything has a context.
Yeah, yeah, no, I heard you say that was like the supersonic philosophy or theory or whatever. I feel like you have a lot of like philosophies and theories that you create. Is that would that be correct for me to guess that?
Uh, Everything is within the context. So as long as I understand the original context, just like sampling, then I understand what I'm saying and what's being said.
Oh, facts. I mean, I when I say it's not coherent, I don't mean like you're not making sense. I was just meaning like when you hear, let me say, I'm trying to think of somebody who's like just really like a Kendrick song, for example, or a J Cole song. That's more reasonable. Like a J Cole song, he's like talking to you and he's saying words that are like complete sentences. Sometimes, I feel like you will kind of like I said, even though you say the mistake is on purpose, you will be like, I was wearing a sweater. Excuse me, I mean a sweater, and you'll do things like that. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't see a person like J Cole doing that. You do that often, and like I said, even though it may be on purpose, it sounds like a mistake to the normal ear or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, no, I'm having fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the thing. Like I'm having fun, but at the same time, I thought about the verse long before I recorded it.
See, that's like it. That is it's like your verse on it's like your verse on Rihanna when you're talking about the monster or the girl demon or whatever that you created in your dreams. Like the way you tell that story, of a it's not of a usual way a rapper would tell it, and that's why I say you got your own style because I don't know, you just tell stories interestingly. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a very interesting viewpoint on how you narrate stories. Like, is that a thing that how you are off the mic? Like, are you an a storyteller or an animated person that because you're very much like that in your songs.
Yeah, I don't really talk too much.
Mm.
Like I said, I let my work do the talking. And, it bothers people that know me personally, but that's what I do. Like when I was a kid, I used to talk and correct people all the time. But after a while, it's like, okay, y'all know so much. I'm just gonna stay quiet and just do my thing.
Was niggas like mad when you did that? Like when you would correct them, would they like be upset?
Yeah, they be pissed off. Everybody be pissed. It's like I can't let you go on with this belief and it affect what I do and how I live. So I would correct them. They're like, Charles, shut up. Dude, keep quiet for 5 minutes. Like, okay. And in that 5 minutes, their whole world would end, and then they come back to me like, "Oh, what was you saying?" Like, nah, I don't know.
Is there like a that's funny. Is there like a story or like a specific thing that would you would correct people on a lot and like you just like messed them up all the time?
No, whatever. It's all contextual.
Yeah. Hey man, you like I said, even the mistakes or whatever, like even the way, because even your production, the way you flip samples or whatnot, I feel like is unique. And somebody that you flipped on Instagram Live one time, and I'm glad I'm interviewing you because I always want to know this beat come out. I don't think this beat ever did come out, but you was on Instagram Live flipping a Bobby Caldwell song, and I remember a couple days later I DM'd you because I was going to interview Bobby Caldwell, and I interviewed him. I asked, did you have any questions? You gave me a question to ask
Yeah,
him or whatever.
I remember you now.
Yeah, yeah, that was me. That was me. And I interviewed Bobby Caldwell, and I chopped it up with him or whatnot. And I asked him your question. I can't remember your question on top of my head right now, but I remember you were flipping a song by him or whatnot. I don't know if you remember that Instagram live session or that beat, but I was curious if you did, and did that beat ever come out?
Well, I'm always sampling Bobby Caldwell, so I'm not sure if I dropped the beat yet, but I might have. Actually, yeah, I think I did. It's on Jamaican Magic.
Jamaican Magic. You know the name of the song? Because that beat was insane.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the song off the top, but I'll go look it up.
All right, but I'll definitely look that up myself after we off of here. But yeah, Bobby Caldwell, you said that's somebody you sampled a lot, and I remember you were saying that was somebody that you really enjoyed a lot. Like, what about Bobby Caldwell, I guess, influences you, or that you're so much of a fan of?
I mean, he's very unassuming. You don't believe it's Bobby Caldwell. Bobby Caldwell is like the white Curtis Mayfield.
Explain that a little bit.
No one believes he's black. No one believes he's white. No one believes Curtis Mayfield is black.
Is that a thing? I mean, I know nobody believes Bobby Caldwell is white, but I didn't know people didn't think nobody thought Curtis Mayfield was black. That's the thing?
Yeah, that's a serious thing. Like, people didn't believe Charles. People didn't believe Curtis Mayfield was black because of his voice, and like there would be videos of him performing, and they'd think that it was a white man performing as a white man hiring a black man to perform as him.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I did not know that. And it's funny because after you were chopping him up, I was always a Bobby Caldwell fan, but I was sitting there listening to Bobby Caldwell and after you were chopping him up, and I'm like, yo, this dude is amazing. I don't know if this was a song or not, but the song damn, I forget the name of the song, but I think this was the song you were chopping up. But yeah, that guy's great. Is there anybody else that is like a kind of like an old timer that you really admire their work? Somebody that we don't, somebody that's not like all in the spotlight.
Donny Hathaway. Love Donny Hathaway. I mean, you said not in the spotlight. That's a difficult one. Probably Peter Tosh. You ever heard of Peter Tosh?
I never heard of Peter Tosh. Who's Peter Tosh?
Yeah, he's reggae. He's just like this great reggae artist.
Okay, I'm at the. I love reggae, so let me write that down in my notes. Peter Tosh, you say?
Yeah, Peter Tosh. There's this one artist started changing my music in 2019. His name is Dr. John.
Dr. Don or John?
Dr. John.
John. Okay. What type of music is that?
Yeah. Doctor, I mean, he's all over the place. Like, you'd have to look him up yourself. Dr. John deserves to be considered a legend.
Really? John or Jon?
Yeah, Dr. John.
All right, I'm gonna definitely look him up too. You would strike me as a you strike me as a Todd Rundgren guy. You like Todd Rundgren?
He's cool. He's cool.
I fuck with the Todd Rundgren.
My taste in music, because I sample and I appreciate the records, sampling pretty much enables you to appreciate music on all fronts.
Yeah.
So I look for other sample artists, and I look for artists who no one would believe samples.
Meaning like they're obscure?
Like, they're so good, you won't believe that they sample until they told you.
Like who? Like, give me an artist.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre. Shout out Dr. Dre, man. I like it's crazy because I feel like we I don't know. There's so many legends in hip hop. Because you're talking about legends in like other genres that we kind of overlook how great they are just because they are so great. And that's somebody like Dr. Dre. Like, I feel like we forget how masterful Dr. Dre is at what he did back in his heyday. You know?
I mean, he's still doing it. Like, Dr. Dre is responsible for 98% of the records that hit the mainstream.
I didn't know. I didn't know Dr. Dre was still doing anything. I thought he'd probably like a couple Eminem songs. I didn't know he was still out here.
No, yeah, Dr. Dre is phenomenal shit.
So, you know, and another thing I feel like is overlooked is engineering. And you engineer, bless you. You engineer most of your records, right?
Correct.
How did you learn how to do that? Because I feel like that may be the hardest thing to do outside of production and like rapping, because that's hard in itself. But I feel like engineering, that takes an ear to be a good engineer. Like, how did you learn to even do that?
I started on a board. I was about 4 years old, and I started on a board. And I learned how to. They say tweak, but I call it conditioning. I condition the record to sound as clear as possible. Without getting into specifics of what I do when I engineer, I just cleaned it up a little bit. And then over time the technology got better, so I had to learn the new technology, and I started, I made my own sound, literally created my own sound.
Yeah, that's a fact. You, like I said, you like a beat like Your Funk versus Instinct. That's a very unique way to flip a Michael Jackson song that I feel like it's probably been flipped a couple of times before in history, because that's a huge Michael Jackson song. But off the wall, like I said, that's kind of like if somebody say, "Oh, I said Michael Jackson's," like, "Oh, all right, who cares?" But that flipped the way you did it, and then you flipped the hook. That was crazy, bro. That was some crazy stuff right there, bro. That was crazy. I want to know, like, I kind of want to know, like, the backstory on that, because, like, were you listening to Michael Jackson one day and you decided to, like, oh, I want to redo this hook? Like, what was the backstory on that? Because that beat and that flipping the hook, that was fire to me.
I was in a car with my mom, MC Light, and her mom.
Wow.
And I was on my
Time out. That's a legendary lineup right there, man. Your mother, MC Light, and her mother. That's crazy. How did that even come about? Like, do you know MC Light or something?
MC Light is my cousin.
Wow, didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so we were coming back from, I think a resort or something crazy. And like we were listening, I was like DJing in the car, and I was playing not Round and Round. I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Ma, what's that Michael Jackson song?" I was like bugging out because I was like, "That's the perfect song to go next." I'm like, "Ma, what's that Michael Jackson song?" Like, no. And everybody in the car was losing their mind. Like, what the hell? What is that? I said, "Ma, you got 30 seconds to tell me for the song go off." They're like, "Oh, well, Charles, looks like this is the end of the session." I said, "Damn." So we went back to the apartment in LA, and I put on. I knew it was either Off the Wall or Thriller, and I put on Off the Wall first, and I listened to it till I found the record. Once I found it, I chopped it up, and as I was chopping it up, I had a photo shoot with Billboard.
Mm.
So I was like, I had to hurry up and make the beat. I feel like I could have went in a little bit more, but with that in mind, what I had in mind to do, I left for somebody else to do. That's what I do sometimes when I make beats. Like, hey, I know you hear it this way. Here's room to do it any other way, but don't forget who gave you that room.
Yeah.
So I heard the record, and I was like, I had to go crazy on it.
Hey man, I love your flipping of that hook, man. It was I was your last boyfriend, time to make that was fire right there. Like I said, like
Thank you.
stuff like that, like that's like I said, you just don't got a normal ear, bro. Like some people might hear that and not think to flip that hook and come up with that type of melody and go off of that, So I don't know, niggas say Rick Ross has like an ear for beats or whatever. Do you
Yeah.
like do you think like your trained background in music comes from like you because I feel like you have an advanced understanding of melody. Do you think that comes from your classically trained music background, or do you think that's something that's natural or just growing up on music? Like where do you think that comes from? Because I would say you have an advanced ear for melody for sure.
I mean, I would make, my mom would make what is now known as mixtapes back home,
Mm.
and it would be like it would be the soundtrack to a movie she's writing in her head. So she would take all her favorite songs and put them in a story context.
Mm.
So I kind of got that from mom, and then my dad would listen to an album from beginning to end without skipping it, and describe the album in the end. Like when it's over, they'd tell the story of the album from the inside out. Like my dad is a beast, my mom is a beast. And they probably don't. Rest in peace, mom. They probably don't even realize their abilities, but I mean one out. If I may, get into a story.
Yeah.
I made an album when I was living in Cleveland. I made an album sampling only Jimi Hendrix, and I gave it to my dad. And my dad said, "I don't even like rap, and this is my favorite album." I said, "I hoped you would say that." Like I really listen intensely to records. And my dad listens intensely. That's why he has favorite artists. Because if he goes in on an artist listening and it ends up being less than what he expects, he feels disappointed and he beats himself up. And my mom, she only gives you a few seconds before she turns the song off because she doesn't like it. So I'm a little more charitable because I make beats. I can make a beat out of anything. But I also feel like my mom and dad and their appreciation for music is what helps me with my, curation of music.
Yeah, you get your music instincts from them basically.
Yeah, and then like at the same time, like I'm my own man. Like
Yeah.
my mom later in her life got into gospel. So the same with my dad. They both got into gospel.
I think gospel songs are some of like the best songs to flip. Like I'm not a producer, but just like from a like listener's ear, that's like some of my favorite things to flip. Like, do you like flipping gospel songs, or is that not your thing?
Every so often I'll flip a gospel joint.
I love gospel flips.
Yeah.
We're like 30 minutes almost into this interview, and I don't know if people like always want to interview you or not, but I feel like you have like an interesting perspective on music. Is there a reason why you don't like, I don't know, just make content talking like not even a podcast, but just videos talking about like interesting music facts. I feel like you know a lot about music, and like I said, I feel like that'd be things that people want to hear. And I don't know if you ever thought about doing that, but I feel like people would definitely want to listen to that.
Yeah, it's come to mind a few times. I don't want to exploit music. Like I really love music. Like
Hmm.
it's almost a part of my mental health regimen to not listen to as much music as I do.
Do you
I've gotten to the point where I can listen to albums without even pressing play.
mm, So
You
do,
probably don't even understand that.
I mean, I
It's
guess
about
you.
to,
I'm assuming you listen to the album so much that you just know what it sounds like.
no, like I never mind, never mind.
I'm interested in
Don't
that's
worry about it.
crazy. That was crazy. Wow. You can listen to the album. That's gonna be a bar. I'm gonna be thinking about 2 years from now. Like, what the hell that meant? That's crazy. Um,
Yeah, high tech can do the same thing, but I didn't realize I could do it until he brought it to my attention.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I don't know if you don't want to explain that, but I low key want you to explain that because that's an interesting statement.
Yeah, get into the groove, like checking the vinyl out.
It's interesting. Interesting, interesting. Like I said, stuff like that, I don't even think that'd be exploiting music. It'd only be exploiting music if you didn't really love the music. But I feel like people who also love music like you or just as much as you, I feel like they would definitely want to hear your opinion. Like, just stuff like the way you flip Michael Jackson. That's a cool story. Like you're in a car with MC Light. Like MC Light is the is a part of the inspiration or a part of the story on how that beat came about. Like that's cool. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. That'd be something that I think would be interesting. Um, Also, like I said, one of my favorite beats by you, Rihanna, is there. Like, do you know
Yeah,
the sample behind that beat? Do you remember off the top of your head?
yeah, yeah. It's Fleetwood Mac, Rihanna.
Ah, okay. There's a little Fleetwood Mac in there, man. Yeah, that beat is insane. Like, is there a story behind that? Because I don't know. I just feel like that's not a regular nigga beat. Like, a nigga just don't think of that. Like, the way you flip that was fire, and the stories the story about the woman you created in your head or whatever. Like, that was crazy. Like, how did you create that song? 'Cause that song is, I think, in my opinion, that's top five Charles Hamilton.
Well, the story is, and it might give me a little trouble with females, but the story is, I was dating a blogger at the time, female blogger,
Okay.
and we had just finished doing the nasty, and I went into the living room, and at the time I was chasing Rihanna, and she was dating Chris Brown. So I had been putting together this project for a little minute, and I was just in my head like Fleetwood Mac is almost giving me Rihanna, with the song Rihanna. So I was like, what do how can I mess with this? And I only had a few minutes before she left the room, before the female blogger left the room, and was trying to figure out where I was at. So I was like, how could I just have some fun with this? So I just fucked with the loop a little bit and made the beat, But I made a song to Rihanna at another girl's house, and I mean, I think I made the beat to Rihanna at this girl's house, and I think I told the story about the song. No, I made the beat at one girl's house, and I wrote the song at another girl's house. Or I think I wrote the song while another girl was at my house, and I was feeling really bad. I was like, "Fuck it, Rihanna, wash my sins away."
Now you was definitely in your problematic back when you did that. I think the craziest thing that you just said, if I understood you correctly, did you say you made that beat in a couple minutes or in a few minutes?
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't take long to make the beat. Cause I knew what I wanted the beat to do.
Bro, you're insane. You're a madman, bro. That's crazy.
Thank you.
That's crazy, man. Also, before we get out, because I want to get into some fan questions before we get out of here, but another song that I feel like is underrated in your discography that a lot of people don't know about, and I like the beat and the melody that you chose. I don't know, like you're not like, of course, Bobby Womack or anything, but I think your way of like finding the melody and kind of harmonizing with it is great. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the Bobby Womack or Marvin Gaye do that. But one of my favorite underrated songs by you is I think it's called, what is it? Isn't Sonic? The one where you is a prayer in the
Oh yeah,
mind.
yeah. From
That,
SH Zero. Good choice.
hey, that's great, bro. That's a fire song, bro. And yeah, what's that sample? That's the song sounds so familiar to me. If you remember.
The Gil Scott Heron, Big Viola.
Okay, okay. I thought, yeah, I definitely thought I knew that. Yeah, that was a good sample choice right there. But yeah, that song right there, it's like like when you find these melodies, like are you just in the booth vibing out and it just pops up in your head? Because I understand that different artists find melodies and harmonies in different ways. So when you find melodies like that, is it just like of a spur of the moment, like you're just vibing with the beat and it comes to you?
Nah. Sometimes it is. So it depends on what I'm dealing with, and how much time I have. But yeah, man, like that album is very special because like everyone who knew me could tell you I took a very dark turn in 2012,
Mm.
and I did it. And I'm gonna say this, and I don't want no. If you make sure that you put out there that Charles Hamilton is not mentally unstable.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you this story, and I'm not expecting any backlash. Okay.
All right. This is just all unedited, man. I don't want to twist your words up or nothing, brother.
All right. I had gotten into a little, I guess you'd say, beef with some people who were claiming they knew me from high school.
Mm.
And I didn't remember them because, as you know, all I was doing was making music. So they basically were scheming to get me a record deal so they can get all the money. And they were doing and saying some things that were very personal. So the death of Charles Hamilton, as discussed on SC0, is that nice guy, that friendly guy that walks up to people and says hi and, asks for directions and even asks a stranger for a quarter or two. That's over with. Because if these guys had succeeded with all of what they were saying, they would have killed the love in my heart and pulled the very Sonic the Hedgehog out of my body. And it led to a lot of embedded racism because they think I'm just some white boy that raps and, girls think it's cute, but he really can't fight. And I'm like, if you really want to make it something, we can fight one-on-one because you're my height. And I don't fight clean. I never heard of a clean fight unless it's professional boxing.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
So I'm like, a lot of people have known me, like I got, a little misogynist, became more homophobic than usual, more hateful. And that album was full of hate directed to the gentlemen who were denying Sega post 2012 and using me for my abilities and resources. So it was a very angry album. So when the question is Charles Hamilton isn't Sonic, is I'd rather Sonic be someone else and be safe than me be Sonic and be subjected to the situation where I have to explain to the galaxy why Sonic the Hedgehog is pulled out of my body. You ever heard of Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Nah.
Yeah, well, people do that when they think you're special. They try to take what's special out of you. And I feel like Sonic is what's special to me.
So
what makes me special.
Are the invasions of the body snatchers, are those peoples? Are those spirits? What is that?
Well, I mean, whatever it may be, the wrong people watched the movie and got influenced by it. You know how women are pregnant and people run up on them and pull the baby out of them and dump the lady in the trash can or dump the baby in the trash can.
No, what is that a thing?
Yeah, that goes on in New York.
What, people pull babies out of women?
Yeah, and then dump either the baby or the woman in the dumpster.
Is Michael Myers just walking around New York? Like, is that what? I've never heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
Wow, that's wild. My fault. No, I don't mean to cut you off, but you started off saying that you wanted people to know that Charles Hamilton.
I'm not crazy.
Yeah, you're not crazy. You're not mentally
unstable. On a higher level, and I share them with. I make the mistake of sharing high level things with people for their own benefit. Don't try this at home. In other words.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, why do you think the perspective or the idea that Charles Hamilton is like mentally insane or mentally crazy? Like, why do you think that even started? Like, what perpetuated that?
Because I told people I was in a mental hospital. Was that simple?
Was that something that helped you when you went there, or is that something that you think did more harm?
I mean, it's a lot of controversy as to why I was in the mental hospital to begin with, but I dealt with it, and whatever my demons are, I deal with them. But don't call me crazy because what I know can save your life.
And another thing that you mentioned during that story, you were talking about, like, I guess Sonic and Sega and whatnot. And I guess for people who don't know, like, what would you say Sonic represents? Like, what is Sonic symbolize to you?
The creator.
The creator of.
Everything. Like God said, let there be light. To say something needs to make a sound.
Yep.
The Big Bang Theory, bang is an onomatopoeia, which is a word that is a sound. There's two philosophies of which sound was the catalyst for creation. And then Sonic the Hedgehog. Last letter in Sonic is C, first letter in Sonic is H. So I am connected to the creator, if I'm not the creator himself.
So what about Sonic makes him the creator? Like, why isn't like Bugs Bunny the creator? Like, why is it Sonic?
I feel like Bugs Bunny is a descendant of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Explain that one.
The underground traveling.
Mm. So it's like Harriet Tubman a descendant of Hedgehog, of Sonic the Hedgehog, because she was underground
Well,
traveler.
Sonic's arms are tan. Sonic is colored.
So
Sonic on the inside would be a house nigga, but he's colored, so he'd be a field nigga. That's why Sonic is mostly outdoors.
So Harriet Tubman ancestor is Sonic.
I mean, however you want to see it, Sonic is past, present, and future. And mind you, this is all my perception, but I can't prove it.
This is why I think you need a YouTube or something, bro. Niggas would listen to this every single day, bro.
Alright, well,
I'm telling you, man.
I'll figure that out eventually.
You got to, man.
I got two blogs, so.
And it's crazy because would you say you're like an internet person? Like, are you good with technology?
Very much so.
Is that something that you had to adapt with because that's the world we live in, or has technology always kind of been something that you're like not enamored with, but something that you're interested in?
I'm good. Hold on, I'm in an interview. I've been trying to tell you for the last 20 minutes I'm in an interview. What is it? Okay, two chops. Okay. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just you said you're good with the you said you're good with technology, and I was asking, is that something you always been like kind of interested in, or is it something you had to get with the means?
That's something. No, yeah, I've been good with computers for years.
Okay. Well, lastly, before we get to the fan questions, it's kind of leading on to your last story. You're talking about mental health, and as you know, like in music, mental or just kind of in the internet, Twitter, whatever, more people talking about mental health than there've ever been in probably the history of people. Definitely black people. Niggas never talk about their mental health, and that's something that you've always kind of documented, saying that you're in a mental hospital or rapping about it or whatnot. So the world talking about mental health a lot and how it's important. Is that something that you're rocking with, or you're not rocking with at all? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't want it to be seen as a joke. No one's mental health is a joke.
Yeah. Do you feel like people make it a joke?
I feel like people are subjected to it being a joke.
I can understand that. I feel like almost everything is a joke in 2020 now. Like niggas joke, like there's nothing people don't joke about.
I don't really find a lot of shit funny.
I mean, do you have any favorite comedians or favorite people that you think are funny?
Bobcat Goldthwait, Dave Chappelle, who else? Richard Pryor, definitely. Who else? I mean, I watch Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious constantly. I have the hugest crush on Sashira Zamata from Saturday Night Live. I think she's funny, but like I would, stop the game and play with her,
Hey, I'm definitely stealing that. I'm gonna stop this 2K and play with you, girl. Hey, have you said that in a bar yet?
If you didn't get it, that was a reference to an 80s song. I'd stop the world and melt with her.
That's a fire reference right there, man. That's a fire reference. Hey, speaking of 80 songs, wouldn't be mad if you flip some Tears for Fears, man. I think the streets might need that.
I flipped Tears for Fears before.
Really? What song was that? I missed that.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World and high time, me and Stan, nothing used,
Yeah,
coming man,
yeah,
in a love train, from coast to coast.
yeah.
DJ, and we love the moves.
Hey, man, Everybody Wants to Rule the World is one of the best pop songs I think ever made. To be honest with you, it's a great song. Um, but yeah, man. I guess we can get into these fan questions. We can get out of here, man. First of all, you're a popular guy. You got a lot of questions, man. So I can't even go through all of them,
Okay.
but you got a lot of freaking questions, man. I really don't even know where to start. Okay, Adam. He said ask him about this new Sonic movie about to come out.
Okay. What about it?
I don't know. You got any thoughts on it?
Um, from what I've seen, it's discussing everything that I've been talking about for the last 10 years.
Like what?
So, I mean, like, using Sonic's DNA to create another Sonic.
Mm. Do you think do you think like percentage wise, like how much do you think Sonic has impacted you?
Um, believe it or not, that's a very personal question.
Mm.
So I'm gonna have to keep that to myself.
Because I was watching something, I don't know what it was, but I remember you said you was watching Sonic on mute, and I was like, that's crazy. Like I
Yeah,
like
yeah. As a kid,
yeah, that
I
was
was at Andre Morgan's house, my mom's friend Andre Morgan, and he had Sonic. He had the new version of the Sega Genesis, and he didn't have a controller to play the game, and the TV was on mute. And I didn't want to go upstairs and tell him, I needed the controller and the TV on mute. I literally sat there and watched the game on mute. And I guess I imagined the sounds, but once I got my own Sega Genesis, I was a pro at it.
well. That segues into the next question perfectly by Stunner. He says, ask him which Sonic adventure is his favorite.
With Sonic Adventure,
Yeah, the game.
probably two because I beat it.
That's a classic. Shout out to Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure 2. With the Windstone,
Yeah, it was a classic.
yeah.
He also asked me to ask you, how do you feel about a Chimp One?
I think he's a great guy. Jim Warren is a great guy. He literally watched me make music while I lived with him in 2012.
Mm.
So, I can vouch for his ability. I have to take him to a professional studio so he can see how it all goes down. But, I can vouch for him. He's dope.
All right. Shout out to Slappy Bag. He asks, he's worked with Pharrell, Eminem, and probably other big names that we don't know. Ask him what he's learned from working with those guys.
Patience.
Mm. What about patience? Like patience to let the ideas come, or patience for what?
No, I mean, don't get frustrated with yourself because how you see the song isn't coming the way at the speed you want it to come.
Okay. Cal E Caliban. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very stupid name, pal. But he asks ask him about who he's listened to currently as a producer, i.e., Madlib, Dilla, Questlove, etc.
Well, he pretty much knows what I'm listening to. I've been listening to a lot of Sam I Am, DBIC, John Wayne. Um, there's some cats on this. Stu Bangers, he's pretty dope. Um, who else was I listening to the other day? I was like, yo, this is retarded. Jesus Christ, Can Kick, I think.
Mm.
Can Kick is dope. I'm gonna always be listening to Alchemist.
Man, I say this every interview Alchemist is brought up. I mean, every time he's brought up, I think Alchemist might be the most underrated producer of all time, just because from the start to where he's at now, I think he's gotten better, and he has not fallen off. He's just continued to progress, and he's top five
Yeah.
for me. He's so good, so good.
Yeah, Alchemist is awesome.
He is so good. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, also before we get off of that, somebody who has good beats. He doesn't produce, but he raps. I think you should look up the rapper Mavi. He is he is somebody I think you would dig a lot. Super good.
Is it Mozzie?
Mavi, Mavi.
Oh.
He's in close working with Earl Sweatshirt these days. He's super duper
Oh,
good,
okay.
super duper good. I'll definitely send you some stuff. Let me see. AK Fresh, he said he doesn't have a question, but he just wants to let you know why isn't this awkward is a super duper classic.
Why isn't this awkward?
Yeah, why? No, no. Yeah, he was saying this is a classic. It's not a question. We just want to let you know that he thought it was a classic album or a classic mixtape.
Okay. I mean,
Um,
as well isn't this awkward?
you well in this awkward. Yeah, he wrote. I don't know why he wrote it like that or whatnot. Let me see what else we have here. Nate number 8. He says he's a big fan. He wants to know, do you have a favorite porn star?
Favorite porn star. Lacey retired, so right now it's Kira Noir.
Shout out to her. I've seen her recently.
Kira is lit.
I've interviewed like the 15, 20 porn stars like over the past 2 years, and I got a lot of requests to interview her. So for people watching, I might interview her soon. Shout out to her.
Kira Noir.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
she's fire.
And D Baker. Don't forget about D Baker.
I've never heard of her.
Fucking Baker. Oh my lord, D Baker is so gorgeous.
What does she look like? I'm not on her.
She looks like a mystery, dude. Like D Baker is gorgeous.
I gotta check out. You said D Baker, right?
Baker. You ever heard Autumn Harvest?
Nah. What it is?
It's an album. Don't worry about it. But D Baker.
No, I gotta. Hey, man, I gotta do my Googles, man. I gotta do my Googles on that one. Tuxedo Mask, he actually said also asked if he's seen or heard from Lacey Duval. So there's that. All right, man. Last question. I guess Dicker Sprinkle said, "Who is your favorite artist out right now?"
My favorite artist out right now, yeah. Anderson .Paak.
So good. He is so good. His last album. His last album is, oh my gosh, what is it called? Something with a V. What's the place in? Whatever it's called. Love that album. Huh? Ventura. Yeah, Ventura. Excuse me, Ventura. Oh my gosh, man.
Is it Ventura or Oxnard?
I love Ventura. Ventura's the one. You got freaking Smokey Robinson, Nate Dogg, Brandy. Like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. The album is so disgusting. But yeah, man.
Close range, we official.
So good, man. I love that.
I love that boy.
I love that guy.
Anderson .Paak, favorite artist out.
Hey man, I don't want to keep it for too long. So if there's anything else you got to say before we get out of here, please let it be known.
I actually have it written down. Hold on.
All right.
Let me grab my notebook. I did a little bit of writing at my last hospital visit, and I wrote down exactly what I want to say. Now it's just a matter of me finding my. Here we go.
Okay.
Hold on. Where are you, notebook? Alright, well, I can't find my notebook right now. So, all I'm going to say is, if you believe in me, you believe in magic.
That's it?
That's all I have to say. Yeah, right. If you believe in me, you believe in magic.
Also, shout out Third Eye Magic. Shout out to that.
Yeah.
Shout out to that right there. Hey, so for everybody watching right now, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, I say what I mean what I say. Haters are going to hate, players are going to play, and you guys holler at your boy.